Hello everyone, Giltar here with a model kit review. This time we'll be looking at the 1 to 100 scale Master Grade F91 Gundam in Harrison Martin's custom colors. Now this will be a two-part review. As normal, in part 1 I'll cover the model kit details, accessories and articulation, and then in part 2 I'll sort of finish up my final thoughts and cover anything I might have missed in part 1 here. Now I'm starting off with the F91 sort of beside or in between the 1 to 100 scale Master Grade RX-782 1-year war model, and also the high grade Universal Century 1 to 144 scale RX-782 model. This is to give you guys an idea of how it scales up to its own scale range of 1 to 100. While the RX-782 is an 18.5 meter tall Gundam, the F91 is a 15.2. So to my eyes they look just about right. So you get an idea of how it scales within that range. Now this will give you an idea of how it compares to a 1 to 144 scale sort of average sized Gundam. And as you can see, it is taller but not significantly so. The F91 design is probably among the smaller Gundam designs out there. The V Gundam's another one that's in at about the 15 or 15, I think it's also like 15.2 meters tall. Now with this Gundam, this model kit rather, as you can see it looks fairly plain right now, and that's because I've not touched it up with panel lining, color application via paint or Gundam marker or stickers, no decals or marking seals or anything like that. And the reason why I'm doing it this way, I want you guys to get a look at the model in its naked form without any extra work done for like the sort of customization or color aspect of it. And why that's important is that there is a significant amount of work you do have to put in order to get it to like sort of the finished look. To give you guys an idea of how it looks when you have everything applied is this. A lot of extra details like the yellow on the legs components, more yellow up here on the skirts, shoulders, chest, and even the Vulcans up here need to be painted as well, I guess. So there is a bit of work to be done. I'll show you guys the sort of, it comes with marking seals, foil stickers, and water slide decals. I don't know if there are any dry transfers in here. I haven't cracked this open yet because I plan on painting this model, so I'm not going to touch any of this stuff until I have the painting stage completed. But that's just to give you an idea of how this model kit looks like without any extra sort of effort aside from assembly. Now I did touch up the eyes and the head camera sensor with paint. I used a clear green Tamiya paint for that. Now let's start off with accessories. So first of all, we have the VSBR or variable speed beam rifle accessory here. It's incorporated into the mobile suit. They peg onto, or rather attach to, like ball joint pegs, and they can swivel on an assembly up and down the back. And in its normal form, it's compact like this, and then in sort of its battle ready state, what you do is you slide open the handles, or rather I'll show you here. Normally it's the handle's in and it's collapsed. You slide it out, flip open this handle, which is pretty tight, and then flip open that handle. Then you have it in sort of firing mode. It's really nice sort of part of the design. It's a shame that a lot of the details, like this beam rifle part, does have some sort of inner frame details, so it's quite nice. And the fact that it's incorporated into the body of the mobile suit I really like as well. As far as the other accessories, we have the standard sort of heavy weapon, heavy artillery. Instead of a hyper bazooka, what we have here is a beam launcher. So I guess it's a beam-based heavy weapon. Very similar though in design to a standard beam, or rather a hyper bazooka, where it is essentially a bazooka type of design. You have your front barrel here, an exhaust rocket jet port thing back there with some, I guess, directional fins. This cartridge is actually a separate part, which is nice. And the handle has some slight articulation to allow adjusting in the hand. Now, I don't know if you can make it out, but the handle has a rectangular port which pegs onto the hand, where on the palm there's a rectangular peg. So it's it has that standard, or at least these days standard, master grade feature of a peg and port system for the accessories. Otherwise, the main body of the beam launcher is blue, a dark blue color, and then a dark gray for the other parts. Very nicely detailed, and it will definitely benefit from extra accenting through panel lines or dry brushing of paint. Very similar is the beam rifle. blue body casing with a black inner frame sort of main body. The side grip has swiveling ability for articulation. Everything else is immobile. Excellent details on it, and it kind of reminds me of like an M16 or some other sort of rifle or machine gun or carbine type weapon, especially with the top handle here and sort of a frame casing up here. Again, just like the beam launcher, it would definitely benefit from accenting through panel lining or dry brushing or anything else like that. It also comes with a beam shield, which I have not attached yet. It can actually attach to the left arm here, which has a bit that has articulation. You can swivel out. So I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know how good or bad it is, but I think it's a pretty simple process to get the beam rifle, or rather beam shield, attached to it. The beam sabers are stored in the side skirt in what's called the beam rack assembly, I guess, which is a really nice feature. 2 beam saber hilts, and normally it's stored or collapsed like this. And here are the clear green effect parts for the beam saber blades. Now, I don't know if this is just mine, but one side of the runner is warped so that I have a curved blade here and then a straight blade there. I don't really care one way or another, but I do like the fact that I have some variation, so I can have one straight standard beam sword or beam saber blade and then one curved one for sort of like an action pose, for like a mid-swing maneuver. And that's pretty much it for accessories. So we'll move on to articulation now. Aside from this side skirt also has a sort of a hidden compartment, which is hard to open with short fingernails. So we can open up to reveal something. I'm not sure what. I haven't fully explored this part, but it can open up. So that's a sort of a neat little feature. And again, the VSBR accessories are on swivel assemblies on the back. The cockpit actually opens up, slides open to reveal the pilot inside. The miniature pilot I didn't paint yet. Everything else I will not really go into great depth because you've probably seen it before, whether you've watched my previous RX-782 Master Grade 1-year war model review or some other Master Grade model kit reviews. So I won't really do it, but I'll point them out. So starting with the legs, the feet do have standard front and back movement, though limited side-to-side swiveling. And they are a solid piece, so there's no bending of the foot, unfortunately. The knees are double jointed, so it allows a full 180-degree flush bend. The front skirts are separate pieces. The side skirts are separate pieces, but they can only move that far. But they're on ball joints, I think, so they can swivel to a fair degree. The back skirt has some degree of swivel movement, so that's pretty good. Actually, the back of the cabs have these vents that can swivel to reveal sort of the inner frame, and normally they're put down, and when you open up the vents, then you sort of have, I guess, maybe a burst mode or something like that. Or maybe just for extra propulsion. So yeah, the skirts, the legs. If you do lift the front skirt, then you can put the leg forward significantly. Pretty high. But due to the limited movement of the back skirt, you can't move the leg back that far. The arms are pretty standard in terms of the shoulders can allow full rotation. It rotates at just below the shoulder and at the elbow. It rotates at the wrist. Hands are standard for master grades where there is articulation in the separate thumb, separate index finger, and then the middle, ring, and pinky fingers are grouped as one. And also I've removed the armor for the left leg and the right arm to show off the inner frame details, which are really nice. It does look a little scrawny, but I just like the level of sculpted detail here. And it really gives off a mechanical feel due to the design of the sculpting of the parts. The head itself is pretty limited in articulation, unfortunately, because due to the way that the sort of collar armor is set up, you can rotate the head, but you have to sort of slightly maneuver it about and not really pop it off the joint, but move it up a bit. And it can look up and down a little bit and sort of wiggle side to side a bit, but it's really limited. Like, this is a model kit that's better for pretty standard static poses, unless you have some sort of like action base. And yeah, I guess that's it for really the articulation. So this concludes part 1. Thanks for watching, and please come back in part 2 where I'll go over any other details I've missed and my final thoughts. Thanks for watching.